right, so for this week's guitar lesson, I have a collaboration that I've done with my old friend Quist. He and I have been doing these on and off for years now, and they're always super popular. And I think it's just the combination of the great jam track that Quist provides, and it gives me a chance to sort of take a week off in terms of creating content. I just get to play lead on top of something, and it makes my life so much easier. And it's always so fun to play over these jam tracks that he creates because they're so creative and they just sound so good. So thank you, Quist, for providing this. And by the way, if you like the sound of this jam track, you're going to want to check out Quist's YouTube channel. I've got a link to that and his other channels wherever you're watching this video. So his Instagram, his Spotify, he's got his backing tracks on all those channels. But they're super great quality. A lot of them are very blues-based, different keys, and it's just a really good way to practice and have a lot of fun when you're doing it. So make sure you check out all of Quist's stuff. He emailed me and asked if I wanted to do a jam track that had stops in it. And what he means by that is, you know, the band goes 2, 3, 4. You have these little stops, and it starts off that way. And what you do in that dead space is you get to play lead. And so you have to stay on tempo and come up with something. You don't have anything underneath you, no safety net. You're improvising. It's so much fun to do that. It's a really good way to practice. And I've never done a jam track like this, not that I can remember anyway. So that's what we're going to break down. And I've got this over the course of 2 videos. So in this video, we're going to go through the first half of that lead. If you'd like to watch the second half, download the tablature for this and also get the MP3 jam track. You can get all of the extra materials for this so that you can practice playing this lead by going to activemelody.com and doing a search for EP622. All right, so this song that we're going to be playing over is in the key of G minor. So our chords are G minor, there's a C minor for the minor 4 chord, and then a D minor for the minor 5 chord. And then on the turnaround, I think he played a D7. But that's the chords, G minor, C minor, D minor. And everything that I played was just minor pentatonic scale. There's no need to really go outside of that for this, at least for the sound I was going for. When I heard this, I was thinking Cream. This just sounded like something, Eric Clapton, Cream era. It sounded like something I would hear Cream do, especially with those stops in there. And so I started off by playing on a Stratocaster, and I went and got my 335 and just wanted to get into that sort of, I don't know, the humbucker sound of the 335 just seemed like a good fit. So anyway, we're going to be in pattern 1 of the minor pentatonic scale for pretty much all of this part 1 video. There's, I'll go into this other in pattern 2 in one spot, but the rest of it's just pattern 1. And so let's take a listen to the first part of this, and we'll break down what's going on. We'll take it section by section. Okay, so this first line we're going to learn is in pattern 1 of my minor pentatonic scale. And it starts on this G note here on the 5th fret 4th string. I slide into it like this. And then we go. So that's the first little bit we're going to learn. So it starts on the and of 1. So when the jam track kicks in, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and. So the and of 1, it's right between the 1 and the 2. 1 and. So that's where you would start it when you're playing along with a jam track. So after I played that, then I come up here to the 3rd fret 3rd string, and then down to the 5th fret 4th string, and watch this. So we're going to hit both of those with my ring finger. So it's, and then we're going to just walk down like this. So 3, 5, 3rd string, 4th string. So let's get that first little part first. So it's, now from here we're going to go like this. So from this 5th fret 4th string, we're going to come down to the 5th fret 5th string with your middle finger, and then just walk up the pentatonic scale like this. Now when I come to that last note on the 3rd fret 3rd string, I'm going to push it slightly sharp. Anytime I hit this note, even though it's a minor key song, this is just something that happens in the blues all the time. You're playing that flat 3, and you're pushing it toward the major 3. It's just a sound you hear a lot in the blues. Even in a minor key song, it still works. So all together, slowly, if I count that in, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and... Okay, so that next phrase goes like this. And that's still in minor pentatonic scale pattern 1. We're going to start here on the 5th fret 3rd string and do a full bend there. And then I'm going to, with my index finger, I'm going to go ahead and bar strings 1 and 2 on the 3rd fret. But I'm going to play the first string. The reason I bar those two is because sometimes you'll hit that 2nd string. Sometimes you'll go, or sometimes you'll do it backwards. So that's just a good sort of rule if you're playing the blues, electric blues like this with bends. It's kind of Chuck Berry territory. All that kind of stuff. So far we have this. And then we're going to go to the 2nd string and play 6, 3. Then we're going to come down to the 3rd string and go bend and release on the 5th fret 3rd string. Down to the 3rd fret 3rd string. So all together that second phrase goes. And then concluded with. So from this 5th fret 3rd string, we're going to take our middle finger and come down to the 5th fret 4th string. Very similar to what we did in the first phrase. And then the last note is that flat 3 again. 3rd fret 3rd string, push that sharp again. So all together, if we put these notes together for the second part, let me do it slowly. And just remember, this is just minor pentatonic scale. And these are licks that you can now put into your Rolodex of ideas. That's how I think about every one of these little phrases, they're words that you're learning. And so anytime you're playing a blues now, you can do that. And you know where it is in reference to the key of the song. That's absolutely critical. The song is in the key of G, or it's G minor. So you know your G note is here, right? On the 3rd fret, 6th string, 3rd fret, 1st string. So that puts it in perspective. This would be my G minor chord using that E shape. And then this pattern 1 is right off of that as well. So if you're playing a song in the key of F, you just find your F note, right? And you can do that same lick. That's the beauty of a fretted instrument. You just move your hand up and down to change keys. All right, so now over the 3rd stop I played. Really simple, right in the middle of minor pentatonic scale pattern 1. We're doing 2 full bends here on the 5th fret 3rd string. And then we play that note without the bend. And then watch this. So just go back and forth between the 3rd fret and the 5th fret on that 3rd string. And then that's how I concluded it. So from that 5th fret 3rd string, we come down to the 5th fret 4th string, 3rd fret 3rd string, and then that last note is your G note on the 5th fret 4th string. So then for this next stop, I went. So that's just this sort of dramatic bend. This is very Eric Clapton-ish. And what I'm doing is I start on the 3rd fret 3rd string, and then I come to the 5th fret 3rd string and just do a full bend there, or pretty close to a full bend anyway, and apply vibrato while I'm holding the bend. That's a really hard thing to do. In fact, I kind of let it fall a little bit, almost like this. Just slightly. I don't know, that's just a sound I could hear. It sounds kind of, while my guitar gently weeps-ish, I don't know, but it's that sort of crying guitar. And then, that's how I concluded it. And that, when I did this, that's where the song goes to the 4 chord, which is the C minor. So that's just a bend. It's actually a pre-bend release on that 5th fret 3rd string. Pre-bend it, release it, 3rd fret, back to the 5th fret 3rd string, and right there is where the song goes to the C minor chord, or 4 chord, minor 4 chord. And so once that happens, once we go to the 4 chord, then the band kicks in. There's no more stops. Now it's like a full band with bass and drum and everything. But everything we've done up until this point has really been playing off of those stops. And the challenge you're going to find is staying on tempo. And what I tend to do as I was improvising, trying to come up with a part for this, was I was rushing it. I kept getting too ahead of the beat, and that's just a natural thing because it's actually a slower song than you think, and so you have to kind of slow it down and just try and listen for those little hi-hat clicks, because those are your cue. You know, that's your click track to sort of stay on tempo. So while the song stays on the C sharp minor, I've kind of repeated that line. Now everything I'm doing here, I love the simplicity of this from a scale perspective. It's these notes. 3 notes. I mean, there's the bend in there, so I guess that's an extra note, but it's all played in the same little area. Another one of those same bends on that 5th fret 3rd string. Dramatic bend with vibrato. Pre-bend release, just like we did before. And then, so it's just 5, 3, 5, 5th fret, 4th string. And when I came down to that note, that's where the jam track goes back to the G minor. And so that's why I hit that note. Now, I wasn't thinking that way when I was playing this, and this is the where you want to get with improvising. You're not thinking scientifically about which note to land on. Yes, you're landing on the right notes, but it's really more of just it's the same way when you sing, your vocal cords are constricting and they're locking in on notes. You're not thinking about that. It's just sort of happening. That's where you'll get the more of this that you do, but it's learning little licks and phrases like this that allow you to do that. I can just feel that. That's the release. Back to the 1. And then there was a response to that lick, which was... And I played this lick a lot. I noticed that when I was tabbing this out earlier. I kept doing that in different spots of the fretboard. I don't know why I kept playing that lick. That's obviously in something in my head, but I don't usually repeat myself that much. But we are going to use this lick quite a bit. So the idea behind that, let's just go ahead and bar with our index finger on the 3rd fret, bar the first 3 strings, and you're going to play the 3rd string and do a hammer onto the 5th fret. And so that's a downstroke with the right hand, and then an upstroke on that 2nd string. Like that. It allows you to play it fast by doing the hammer on there. And then we're just going to play right down the scale like this. So it's 5, 3, 5, 3, 3rd string, 4th string. So when you put those 2 pieces together, you have... Isn't that a cool way to just sort of throw in a little burst of notes? And you can always remember that. It's right inside your minor pentatonic scale pattern 1. And then the last thing I played was just strings 2 and 3 there on that 3rd fret. And that's inside of this. And if you think about, remember the song's in G minor, and so we're playing over the G minor, which is our minor 1. And so if I played strings 1, 2, and 3 with one finger, just barred that, that's my G minor triad. That's part of this chord voicing that uses all 6 strings, but all you need is that bit of it. So anytime I want to just work in that little minor triad, I can always... There it is, an octave higher. Then the song goes to the D minor, which is our 5 chord, and I play this. Now, I was using my finger when I did that. I listened back, and sometimes if I want a real poppy sound, I'll use my finger instead of my pick. The pick gives you, it's too plasticky and too concise, or too precise, I guess is the word. The poppiness of your finger, it kind of has some, you know, the tonality of that sounds more like the human voice to me, I guess. And so sometimes in the blues, when I'm doing a bend like that, I'll just pop with my finger. So what I did is I slid up to the 7th fret 3rd string, and then the 6th fret 2nd string, and then I'm going to play the 8th fret 2nd string. I did like 1, 2, 3, 4 bends there. And then and came out of it, so I did just a release on the bend, then down to the 6th fret, back to the 8th fret 2nd string without the bend. And that's what the lick sounds like. All right, so now this is kind of a cool thing that's happening here. So everything we've done up to this point in the solo has been G minor pentatonic scale pattern 1. All of this stuff down here. Now, when we're playing this, we're playing in a different position, and remember, we're playing over the 5 chord. So what's happening, that 5 chord is a D minor, and what I'm playing is D minor pentatonic scale. Now this is a common blues thing that happens a lot, and so especially in a minor key blues like this, when you come to the 5 chord, you can change. You don't have to, but it sounds really good if you change and you play the minor pentatonic scale of that 5 chord. So in this case, I'm playing a D minor pentatonic scale because that chord is a D minor. And so this is the D minor pentatonic scale pattern 4. Look at this. And if I came up here, that would be pattern 5, and then here's pattern 1. My D minor pentatonic. Now you can only do this when the song is over the 5 chord. So as soon as the song goes back to the C minor, you got to go back into your G minor pentatonic scale. So just for that moment in the song, you're playing D minor pentatonic scale, then switch back. I hear Albert King do that a lot. That's where I got that idea. You can also think of this as your G minor pentatonic scale pattern 2, because it's that same little shape. But you wouldn't normally bend this 8th fret 2nd string if you were playing pattern 2, but you can over the 5 chord. All right, so after that, the song is on the C minor. Then I played to get us back to the 1 chord. And this is just minor pentatonic scale pattern 1. I'm going to play strings 1 and 2 but with this index finger here, that bar that I mentioned earlier. So on the 3rd fret, string 2, then 1. And then we're going to come up to the 6th fret 1st string, and we're going to do a slight bend as I push that. So then we play it like that, and we just walk right down the scale. And then we come down to the 5th fret 3rd string, do another bend and release, and come all the way down to this G note here on the 5th fret 4th string. So just practice that. And then watch this. The last note that I played is another G note. It's an octave higher though. I played this one up here on the 3rd fret 1st string. So I love the sound of that going. Hitting the low octave, then the high octave. I hear that in the blues a lot. That kind of thing. Jimmy Vaughn does that a lot, and just the way he does it is always so cool. I mean, he plays with a capo and reuses a lot of open string licks, but he's doing that sound. And then for the turnaround, I played. So I did that same octave thing for the 5 chord, but I just walked right down minor pentatonic scale pattern 1, starting here on the 6th fret 2nd string. Watch this. So Just straight down the scale. And then I came back up a step and hit that 3rd fret, 3rd string. That's the flat 3. So we're going to push it into the major. And then watch this. Just right back down. 5, 3 on the 4th string, 5 on the 5th string, and then I hit that note an octave higher. Same thing we did here. All right, so there's my D note here on the 5th string, and there it is on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. So, and that to me was kind of sounding like Born Under a Bad Sign. You know, it's got that kind of Albert King. The way he would do it, I think he would do it like that. He would hit that twice, and so I just changed it slightly. But anyway, that's that idea, and where that comes from is getting you to the 5 chord. All right, so that's just the first time through the solo. The second time we go up and play a lot of stuff up higher on the fretboard. So I'm going to save all of that for part 2. So come join us for part 2 where we'll go over the second half. And remember, you can download the tablature, the MP3 jam track. You can get all of the extra materials and get the part 2 video so that you can learn all of this. And thank you again to Quist for providing this jam track. This has been awesome. And I hope to do more of these collaborations in the future. All right, we'll see you in part 2.